Hello again, welcome to 0.1 Step 2. In the last video, we talked about what Modern Classroom is and what our day-to-day will look like in the classroom. In this video, we're going to continue our introduction to English 10 this year by looking at a few other features of the class and how it will work. So by the end of this, you should know how grades are determined, how our schedule works, and what the expectations are for this class. So this is our calendar for our first unit, Unit 0. If it looks familiar, that's because you have this exact same calendar on the very front of your unit packet, so you can look at it at any time. You'll have a calendar for every unit we do, so make sure you're checking it to see what's coming up and what you need to know. You can see that the target deadlines are written on this calendar, and highlighted are the hard deadlines for the unit. So for example, for this unit, the Mastery Check hard deadline and when you'll be turning in your unit packets is Wednesday, September 27th. And the summative for the unit at the very, very end of the unit will be due on Friday, the 29th. So you'll want to keep those deadlines in mind as we're moving through the unit. Also has an objectives calendar on the front, which is really useful. It breaks down each lesson in the unit, shows you the target deadline for that lesson, what are the main skills that you'll be using, and what the lesson objective is. What should you learn by the end of the lesson? On the very right-hand side of the objectives calendar, there's a checklist that you're welcome to use, so you can mark off each part of the lesson as you complete it. Things in black are typically must-dos, talk more about that later, and purple and green are extra materials, and then there are mastery checks at the end. So in Modern Classroom, there are 3 different kinds of regular activities: must-dos, should-dos, and aspire-to-dos. And you'll see in the packet these 3 symbols identifying which one each activity is. A must-do is exactly what it sounds like. It's key material necessary to complete the mastery check and pass the unit. You cannot get credit for the course without completing all the must-dos. So you want to prioritize those and make sure you're doing them first. Should-dos are additional skills and practice to help you succeed in the unit. They're really useful to make sure you fully understand the material and will do well in the course, but they're a little lower priority than must-dos. You should try to do as many should-dos as you can, but you don't need to do every single one. Finally, there are aspire-to-dos. These are extra activities, so you can dig deeper into ideas if you're ahead of pace, or if you want to shoot for the A and really master an idea. If you're behind pace, you're struggling with the work, don't worry about the aspire-to-dos. Think of them as extra material. But if you're ahead of pace and you've got some extra time, or you're just interested in the topic we're learning, those aspire-to-dos can be really interesting and helpful. Grades in this class are pretty straightforward. The more activities you complete, the higher your grade. Obviously, the must-dos are the most important since those are core material, but the aspire-to-dos let you earn back missed points. So maybe you lost a couple points on a must-do because you didn't fully answer some questions. Well, if you complete the aspire-to-do in the lesson, you can actually earn those points back. Most of the work in our class is formative. Everything you do in your packet, most of the materials on Schoology, and the mastery checks at the end of the lesson are all formative work, and this is worth 20% of your grade. Summative assessments are weighted 80% of your grade. There will always be a summative at the end of a unit, and most units will have a mid-unit summative as well that's a little bit smaller. Even though summatives are worth way more than formatives, remember that you're only eligible for credit on the summative if you show mastery on all mastery checks by the hard deadline towards the end of the unit. So you can't just skip the must-dos and mastery checks and go straight to the summative and say, I'll just get an 80%. No, you'll actually get a 50% because you won't qualify for the summative at all. So make sure you at least do all of the must-dos and all of the mastery checks so that you can take the summative. Our expectations in class are pretty simple. There's 5 main expectations. The first one is to use your time efficiently. As I mentioned in the last video, if you use your class time well, you won't have any homework. So take advantage of that. Get your must-dos done, use the pacing tracker to stay on top of your work, and you'll be in a great spot. Our second expectation is to stay positive. All of our work is things that everyone in this class can do. That doesn't mean you might not need help. It doesn't mean it's all going to be easy, but keep a positive attitude, try everything, and be willing to experiment. As part of that, if you have a question, ask it. That's what learning is all about. That's why you have teachers here and other classmates. If you're confused on something, you've got a table of classmates that you can ask, or you can come to the teacher desk and ask for help from us. If you cause a problem, fix it. Take accountability for your actions. If you bring food in, clean up after yourself. If you have trash, throw it out. If you get in a fight with someone, work to resolve it and work with a teacher if you need to. And generally, be kind to others. Have respect for yourself, for your classmates, for your teacher. And if you feel like someone isn't showing you respect, work with us to, again, address that. If you need a refresher on our expectations, you can also look at the CHAMPS poster posted at the front of the class. In general, you should be keeping conversation to about a 1. You are welcome to talk with others around you, but it should be a regular, quiet speaking voice. Don't shout across the room. If you need to talk to someone at another table, just go to that table. If you need help, ask classmates around you or go to the teacher desk. For the activity, you can work on your daily activities either on your own or with others. For movement, you should start class in your seat, and later in class, if you have to move, either to do a mastery check, go to the bathroom, whatever it may be, please do so quietly without distracting others. For participation, stay engaged and focused for the whole class period. And finally, for success, complete your work and treat others around you with respect. So overall, English 10 has a clear plan on deadlines, grades, how to get help, and expectations, so all students can be successful. I look forward to working with you, and if you have any questions on anything in this PowerPoint, well, now you know how to get help.